Oh, caught me there. Just getting some last minute notes down. Eyup, I need a fade on that. I think I just need a little fade on that one there, don't I? Eyup, it is Wednesday's guitar class. It's Wednesday, the 3rd of September 2025, and this lesson is all about the secret to unlocking pentatonic scales for epic solos. And the way we do this is like anything. I say, how do you eat an elephant? Oh, hang on. I'm flying solo tonight, so I've had to make my own cup of tea. Yorkshire tea, Eyup. Just the right temperature, just the right consistency. Everything's good. This is the old, I should mention, this is the old Circle of Thirds mug there. It's got a bar QR code. You can scan that. So, yeah, anyhow, that's what today's lesson is all about. We're going to be breaking down the pentatonic scales. Now, there's 5 pentatonic scale patterns that we use. It all belongs part of the cage system. And but I think sometimes it's a lot to handle in your brain, and that's the whole idea of this, guys. Is we're gonna chunk it down. Like I say, how do you eat an elephant? Hypothetically, well, you don't eat an elephant because they're kind of like endangered. But aside from that, theoretically, how we would eat an elephant is we would chunk it down into bite-sized chunks, and that's what we're going to do with this pentatonic this week. We're going to break it all down. Now, here's the thing, guys. If this is your first time here, yes, let me know. I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well. I best put my little ticker on there. Is that it? I think that's the right one. You can find the diagrams. Okay, that's the one. I think it is. Let me just have a little nosy at that. Yes, it is. Perfect. That's what it is. Right, so you can see there, guys, today's lesson, if you have the book, is page 73 in the book. It is lesson 67. And I should say, if you check out that, there is a mug for this. It's probably down below. Might be. I don't know. I've no idea. They keep changing what happens underneath, so it moves around a whole bit. But if it's your first time, let me know. And we'd like to welcome you to the community here on the Wednesday. So we will be breaking the elephant down with elephant sauce, with elephant shoes. Do you remember that one? When you used to say, if you say elephant shoes to somebody through a window, you know, and it just looks like you're saying, I love you. Elephant shoes. Yes. I don't know. Used to do that as kids. We'd do that to each other across the classroom. So there you go. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to break it down into what I call 3s and 2s. That's the whole thing. So just into two nice, easy to consume chunks. So like I say, if it's your first time here, let me know. And like I say, this is in the book, guys. This is in the book. So we're going to do this. Let's have a look. Where's the book? Oh, there it is. There's the thing. So if you haven't got the book, then you might be a little bit stumped, but there's the link for the book there. I've got some other stuff that I'm going to do with this as well, potentially. We'll see how we get on. I've got something pulled up here. I might do something else with this because it's useful to see this. But if that's the case, if I do, then the PDFs will be in PDF Club. And Phil's somewhere saying PDF Club. What's PDF Club? Well, PDF Club is the place where you can get all my PDFs for all my YouTube lessons. I think there's over 350 in there now. It's probably we're ramping it up. It just keeps on going and keeps on going. Yeah. So and that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna keep on going. It's gonna end up just being absolutely monstrous. So it's bursting at the seams there, and any PDFs that I generate will be up there. Now, hopefully, if you are in PDF Club already, you might have noticed that in the community, I actually posted a blank worksheet for you today. It's exactly the one I'm using tonight, guys. So that's the thing. So you can follow along. You can see what I'm going to use here today as I plot this lot out, and you'll be able to see everything as it cracks along. I'm just gonna quickly scoot up to the old chat here, and I'm just going to quickly say thank you very much. I'm going to just take this down here. I'm just going to say thank you very much, Dave, for the $20 donation as well. Pair of character looking at himself in the mirror. This is what I'm getting here. I wish it had just shown me the icons or the emojis. Thanks for being you with hearts popping out of those. Thank you very much. I super appreciate that. And I've just got another one that I want to pull up there that I've just seen as well, and that's Ingo Null. Thank you very much. And that says video game controller poses triumphantly in between the words critical hit. I love it. We'll go with it. I think that's a wonderful way to go. So thank you very much, Ingo. Thank you for. Wasn't expecting that to start the live stream with that going on. Like I say, I'm flying solo tonight. Mrs. Ricky and Miss Ricky. She started secondary school today, so we're all in a tiz. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. She's gone to Girl Guides now, so it's just a full massive day, and Mrs. Ricky's doing all the important stuff, keeping their home fires burning, all that stuff. So, like I was saying, there was PDF Club. Yeah, if you want the PDFs, that's there. And also, what I was going to mention, if it's your first time and you don't know about the Fretboard Fraternity, then this is a place that's free. It's a free community. Come and join us. It'd be great to have you in there. We talk about all sorts of things. Guitar, there's pictures of dogs, there's pictures of cake, there's pictures of guitars, there's more pictures of guitars. There's all sorts of cool discussions going on in there about learning guitar, and I love it to bits because it's better than Facebook. Let's be honest, Facebook's awful. Most social media platforms are awful. I wanted something that wasn't awful, and there you go. And so there it is. Ooh, we can all go in there, and that's the one. I kind of created it for myself as well, didn't I, really? Let's be honest about it, Ricky. So, yeah, but it'd be great to see you in the Fretboard Fraternity. Right. Now, because she isn't here, because Mrs. Ricky isn't here, she can't take the mickey out of me. Yeah, if I don't, and put the poll up. She put a poll up last week. Is he going to get all the way through that without the timer running out? I'm going to put the timer on, guys, because what we're going to do is we're going to go to the chat and we're going to do the roll call. So, like I say, if it's your first time, let us know in the chat here, and we'll give you a welcome. All right, old Yorkshire tea, welcome. Hey up. So there we go. Nice cup of tea. There we go. We've got that. So let's put the counter on just here. Boom. There we go. So I'm going to come along and I'm going to say hello to everybody. Winston is in North Dallas. Thunder Ace, my OG subscriber from back in the day. Thunder Ace, you've been following the videos and commenting and coming along to the classes for quite some time now. I was super, I love that. I just super appreciate it. Thank you. Jason Somerville is here. Evening all. I haven't been. Hang on, let's just put it up on the screen and you can read it and get rid of that there. I haven't been to a live session in many weeks. Looking forward to learning within the community from a wet and windy Southampton. It's been horrible. We chucked it down earlier on. It wasn't nice at all. Jerry Linde is here. Hey up everyone from Sweden. John Carver is here as well from sunny Durham. What are you doing? What's going on in Durham? It's not been like that round here. There you go. Saying hello to everybody there. Stefan Weber as well is in Germany. Robin Tate, hi everyone. Roger Smith, hello everybody. Mario Van Leuven, hello to the world from Eyup. Dave SVT says, hey from the good old USA. Well, at least it has that possibility. Every day, but sooner or later, yeah, it's like it's your last day. I was watching this, it had me in tears, it had me in bits, and it was like saying, imagining you're 80 years old, and then you go back to being 38, and all the kids are little and jumping on you and making a mess, and and you're fit and healthy and everything else like that. And you just think about that. Those kind of things. If you kind of look back and you kind of think, yeah, it's like it's all good, really. For me, every day above the dirt's a good one. That's the way I see it. Yeah, because one day I'll be under the dirt. So there you go, the dirt nap. There you go. But don't want to get morbid with it. But you know what I'm saying? That's what I think is every day is absolutely, especially if you get to pick up this thing. Especially if you've got time to do this, you know, or just shoehorn it into your life somehow, you know, get it in there, you know, there's all the things that you have to do and you have to shoehorn it in because you love it. That's the way I think about it. Never give it up. Never give it up. Never. So there we go. We've got Dave there. Bill Travis is raining cool as well. He's missed the last 2 weeks. Yes. Yeah, I think I might have noticed your name being missing from the roll call here. Mike G, hello from the dark side of the moon. Rocket67 says, hey up from sunny Bavarian Forest. Hello, Mr. Ricky and Fretheads. And like I said, thank you for that, Dave, SVT. Really appreciate that. Carter Hutchinson probably cooking up something really tasty, I imagine, there, buddy, in New Orleans. A hot and humid day in Cajun country. Oh, sounds nice to me. John, evening all from a rainy North Lincolnshire. Ooh, it sounds pastoral though, does that? Not like land covered in pastoral, you know, fields and stuff. So that gent there, I am on West Coast. Oh, so he's on West. Oh, right. There's a conversation going on here. I love it. Yeah. Mike G says hello from outer space. Stuart Smith is in the chat. Mac. Hi all, wet and dark London. There we go. So we've got Winston. How long have you been watching Ricky's lesson? Oh, cry. Thunder Ace. Probably a while. Dark Gent is in southern Oregon. There we go. Oregon. Shauna. Well. Here we go. I should say, all right. That would probably be better for me to say that. Mario Van Leuven is in Antwerp, the city from Tomorrowland. Patrick Darby Sheehan is in the chat. Rainy evening in West Brom, but brightening up with a live session. There you go, you see. Michael DeLima says purple. I've got to show you because it's an emoji. I know it is. And that's what it's meant to be doing. Person turquoise waving. There. Now you know what I see here. Major Pentatonic is in sunny Cyprus. That sounds nice. Irene S is in Petaluma, California. Michael Gregg's in Missouri. How are we all doing there? Shauna is obviously in the Bronx, you know. I don't know why it's obvious, but the thing is, she can be quite sassy on here, you know. She can be. I'm not gonna lie, really, you know. Not gonna. Phil James, right before we get started, what's this blooming PDF club all about? Oh, now you've just made me. I have to do that. I have to put it down. That's if you want to find out what PDF club's all about, then do that there. Go to that link there, and then you'll find out about it. There's a link in the video description as well. See, it's like you're a co-conspirator there, Phil. Mike Allen is in the chat as well. Mrs. Ricky, sorry to miss this fabulous group today, but my wife is having surgery. This group is a bright spot of my week. I love it. Oh, thank you. Well, you know, send our regards to your wife, yes, and say we all wish her a speedy recovery from surgery, and and our thoughts, prayers, and wishes are all with you. Okay. That's the way it goes. That's the way we roll here, Mike. You know that. Wayne Johnson, getting up from Cowtown. Papa Doc, hey up, ready to fill my head with guitar knowledge with the guitar wizard from Yorkshire. Tell you something, right? When you ready to fill my head, do you know what I'm ready to fill in my part of Yorkshire? The potholes. I tell you what. It doesn't rattle your bones when you're driving around in Kirklees. Let me tell you, it has to be one of the worst in the UK. But I'm not going to get into that. Let's not get on it. That's a high horse. That's a soapbox item that I have. But let's not do it. Michael Gregg says, Irene, is that the home of Mesa Boogie? Well, that would be cool. Greg Barrows, good evening. Greg, how you doing? I hope you're well. Mario says, let's start. We're going to start. Look at that clock. Look at that. There you can see. Right. So what we're going to do is we've got Frank Gladden as well in Bowie, MD, USA. We have Mike G, who I think I said there. Maria. We've got Maria in the chat as well. Tony Mason's in the chat. Terry Lauder. Hey up, Terry. Thank you very much for your donation on the video as well. And I did notice that, and I was going to scoot you a little comment and everything else, but it's been a crazy week getting the child ready for secondary school and all that sort of stuff. Just cramming as much as you can in because the summer holidays are over now. Makes me really sad, but I don't know. At least it's not too hot while I'm here doing this, because it has been hot in some of these sessions. Stevie Pinhead is in Seattle. Anik is in the chat as well. Anik, I just say the video that you put in the Fretboard Fraternity, well done, mate. Really like that. Nice, clean playing. Really nice and precise on that. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Well, because that's what people do. Is it's somewhere to share. If you want to share your videos of you playing, then fill your boots. That's what it's all about as well. Just to inspire people and see that, it's realistic that you can learn guitar. That's what it's all about. Malcolm Dengate is in Sussex. Ron Carrillo's in the chat. Relaxing meditation. Eyup Ricky, hope all are doing great. Looking forward to an inspirational lesson, mate. Thank you very much. Lem Biggs. We have Lem in the chat. And yes, so Lem, I think you emailed me about the cowboy hat. I'll have to send you a head measurement because I don't know how big my head is. I don't know offhand. I know my shoe size. That's about it. And the waist, that fluctuates. So there you go. That's a symptom of getting older. We have Tom Clark, Ricky. Yeah, that's the one. Jack Martin. Hey up, everyone. Half Pint Jackie. We've got Tim C. Hello. Gumby Scores in Canada. It's 11 a.m. Well, it sounds like a nice way to do the afternoon. We're going to do this because we always do this with John. Hey up, all lad. Now then, lad. Yes, there we go. Hey up, all lad. We do that. That's what we do. Yorkshire salute. Hey, Ricky et al. So great to be aboard, David says. Greetings from Toronto, Canada. Dan Lafferty's ready for some guitar picking. In Minnesota... And Shauna says the old waffle iron is ready and warm. You see what I mean? Sass. Love it. Carolyn in British Columbia. We have, who else have we got? We've got Mike Isdior in the chat. Made it. Just. We have Off-Grid Greenhouse in Bellingham, WA, USA. Elephant Shoes, yes, indeed. Ryan YT. Oh, no, that's a new one this week. Ingo Noel says, don't find anything anymore in the book. Hi, everyone. This is and the Rickies. I'm not sure what you mean there, but we'll get into it and you'll see what I'm talking about if you're looking in the book. Then this is just going over it all again. Carter Hutchins says, in New Orleans, we eat an elephant with a dash of Tabasco and Abita Turbo Dog beer. That sounds nice. Turbo Dog beer. Oof. It does sound, it sounds like, that keep you up dancing all night. A relaxing meditation. I'm going to take this. I'm going to post this because the thing is, I'm going to put this on because I tell you what, the last week or two, I have thought about going to the hairdressers and getting it all chopped off. But my hair is starting to look better, Ricky. Starting to grow in a place you no longer look like you've been dragged through a hedge backwards. Thanks, buddy. I think that's a compliment. I'll take it as a compliment. It doesn't matter. I'm really thick-skinned. So that elephant we were talking about. So Stefan says, this lesson in the book helped me immensely with memorise the diatonic scale patterns and also with extending them to my 8-string guitar. I highly recommend the book if you don't already have it. Thank you very much. Araman 3048. Hey up all. We also had, who else have we got? Terry Lauder said, I said vacuum through the window to a guy while stopped at a traffic lights near Roadridge. Oh, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go there. Cosmic Sunbeams. Yes, we are with secrets today. We have some secrets, some juicy stuff today. Bionic Bill is in the chat as well. Fine tuning the Pentatonics. Telefunken is in the chat as well. And we've got Small Water feature. You actually did your homework on Sunday after last week's one. Well done. That's what I want to hear. Want to hear if you've done your homework. We really want to. Yeah. Patrick, You've got to mouth it. You've got to make the sound yourself. Say vacuum, yeah. And it looks like if you do it angrily, if you say vacuum angrily, then you'll get the idea. Do it in a mirror. Bill T says, smash the like. Yes, get that like smash, guys. We've got 132 people in here and 62 likes. We need that like button mashing. True Sean Armour, Hurricane sub. All Sean's in the chat, as if he ever isn't. And that's what we like. Ken Guthrie is in Ontario. We also have No Name. Yep. Well, No Name. I'll give you a round of applause. Yes. But I think you should have a name. I think get a name. Let's have a name. Yeah, and then tell us, and then pretend you're a first timer again, and you get another round of applause. How's about that? That's pretty cool, isn't it? G-Man in Colorado. Mark McKeever. Hey, Mark. Hope you are back and well. Hope you're doing well, buddy, because I know the acting's been taking up a lot of time. ATX Viking is in Austin. Apologise for being late. Well, until the roll call ends, you're not late, and there's no star jumps required. So there you go. Edgardo Lorenzo. Ricky, your videos are awesome. Cheers from Argentina. Any advice for my right hand? I find it difficult to know exactly where it should sit or where it is when I'm looking at my fretboard. It's kind of, let me just bear that in mind, yeah, and I'll try and tie it in with the lesson, how we're thinking about this as well. We'll try and tie that in. Andrew Nicholson, Eyup from a wet and miserable Hull. Oh, it's like, but it's got to rain sometimes, doesn't it? John Carver says it was raining earlier, but the sun came out. Oh, that's it. You see, the sun always going to come out eventually. Colin Mead as well. Not been here for a couple of weeks as other commitments, but good to be back now. Thank you for coming back. That's all we want. Three Dogs Brewery. Eyup Neil. Eyup and Go Vols. American college football fan here. NFL starts this week. Fall is here. Yeah, there you go. That's the one. We had a big clap of thunder here earlier in South Wales. Oh, right. Okay. Well, that we didn't have that over here. We just had torrential rain. There we go. Yes, John, the hat is off too. I've got the old hair. It's loose and free. So it was half behaving. So I thought I'll it's hard work wearing the hat. I must admit. Analog Kid, Ayo Paul, Mo Chef Canna is in the chat in Hudson Valley. We've got Cosmocopol. That's really hard to say. Cosmocalypse from the KY, Kentucky. We've got Phantom in the chat. Probably not going to remember much of this lesson. The oxycodone is kind of messing me up. Just absorb it. Just lay back and see. Let it soak into your brain. This is what awesome looks like. What you need is a picture of you with the thumbs like that, really. That's the profile picture I would expect there. Eyup, there you go. Robert Kennedy's in the chat. We also have Mary in Colorado. Dick Plump, Inside Coffee. I didn't make it, did I? With the counter. Michael Salmon's in here from the south coast of the UK. Parkerfly Rook is in the chat as well. Who else have we got? Water Dog, how do, from the other side of the planet, USA. Michael Davis is in the house. Graham Penfold is late washing up. He's been doing washing up. That's it. I enjoy doing the washing up. It's very therapeutic. You know, Mrs. Ricky always laughs at me, but I do enjoy it when I say that. You know, that's her job. You know, to laugh at me. But we don't have a dishwasher, and I don't think I'd ever want one, because it's like I just really, soapy water and scouring brushes and the whole thing. I like that. So there we go. We've got everybody in here. Let's see if there's anybody else. Roy Dunn, hey from Flintstone. I brought your book for my grandson. The picture in the post is not me. It is John Prine. I thought it was you. All right, okay. There we go. The 2004 Philadelphia Folk Festival. Well, that's a good gig to go to. He's a bit of a legend. Who else we've got? Wingo, hey all. Tom Ziffer. There we go. Randy Smith, get a haircut. Hippie. I like that. Calling me a hippie. Crikey. No, it's 3 minutes. Sandy B's in the chat. Good to see you. Yes, we're here. Chuck's here. Ashley's here. Kevin Hall is here. Anton is here. we're all here. Hang on. Wingo said my gas flared up when I got the concert guitar you recommended from a few weeks ago. Thanks. Oh, wonderful. Thank you for trusting in my opinion. Hope you're enjoying the guitar. They're very good. They're very good guitars, and if you get them a good setup, they're absolutely spanking. They're as good as anything worth, like 500 quid or whatever, So Kevin Hall is in here today. Cat Bubba just made it. David Fisher, hey Ricky, each box pattern is associated with a minor and major pentatonic. Could you explain and touch on? The thing is that I did a video on this, and I did called pentatonic modes, and we could spell out each scale as a scale in its own right. But what we're doing is essentially we've got 5 patterns, and those 5 patterns they're essentially inversions of each other. Yeah, so I don't want to get down to this idea of calling them pentatonic modes. I don't want to do that, because that's kind of how we're thinking about it. But yeah, there are 2 patterns in here that relate to modes, and we'll use them all the time as well. So maybe I'll touch upon that. Lawrence O says, hey up all from a drab London, can't join live tonight on account of family evening, so we'll watch this lesson. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. That's what it's about, Lawrence. Cal Whitehead, hey, just made it. And who else have we got in the chat? Ricky Kabisky bumped into your oldest 14 years video on YouTube last night, Ace of Spades. Oh yeah, that was a student asked me to do that. It was a lager advert here in the UK, a beer advert. Onno van Leersum is in the chat, and we are just about done. I'm going to get rid of the roll call ticker because it's not worked today. It really hasn't. Nearly, but not quite. Mars just made it as well. Made it. I'm not usually able to attend live. Is this your first, Mar? Well, let us know. And Stephen Connolly is here. Hey, I got here in time. Just in time. Wall up the light, guys. If you're ready for class, then what we're going to do is we're going to look at these 5 pentatonic boxes. And like I say, if you look up here, if you already have the book, then that's what you're looking at. If you've got the book, you should have this diagram here, this Lady Dianagram, right, with all the instructions there. We've got all that business going on there, and essentially, I think of howdy, Eric. I kind of think of the pentatonic as being almost like a skeleton scale. Yes, because if you Dick, look, I'm going to put that up there. Getting some cheek here. I'm getting some. The students are playing up. All right, okay, there we go. So Dick's there. It's all good, mate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into this and explain it. And the reason we want this is so that the good thing about the 5 box patterns. And this is by no means the only way to do this. From some of my other lessons, I showed you what I call the rectangle and leg method for breaking it up into and playing the pentatonic on string pairs. So box patterns equally have their place. And I would say that box patterns as well, for me, what's beautiful is they also show the underlying chords. There's chords hidden in those box patterns, guys. And the thing is, if you can see the chord, and then just what you do is you visualize and superimpose the scale over the top of the chord visually. You almost have to hallucinate it. Yes. Then what happens is, you get to know what you can put, what scale shape you can put on top of what chord. And that's just another use case for it. But really, what I want to do is I want to go through some of these patterns here. So this is the sheet we're going to be using today, and so we have the patterns here that we're going to have, the 5 pentatonic box patterns here. And then once you get around these and you've filled these in, you've got your skeletons. We can add 2 extra notes to turn them into diatonic scales, which could then become our modes. That we were talking about the other week. We can turn them into majors and minors and Dorians and all those good stuff. And once you understand how that works, then you can do the reverse of that. So you can take your 7-note scales, take them out, and just reveal the pentatonic. Because, and I should just say this just before I start out, actually, because one of the things that I think to get into your head is it's all about texture and creating tension. I talk about tension and release all the time, and what happens is that that if you have more notes, it happening, yes, in the harmony that's going on, yes. There's an overall chord. I just kind of think of it as like a line just going through time, and as you go through that, yeah, you've got this harmony. And when you use diatonic 7-note scales, you've got semitones in there, half steps, and those create tension. You might even have some other tension sounds like the sharp 4, aka the flat 5. You know, major 7. If you have a bare major 7, you know, the root 2 major 7, that can sound quite tense as well, because really, if you invert it, it's a semitone. So this is why it's important to know all those sort of things as well. But the thing I'm getting at here is that the diatonic scales, the 7-note diatonic scales, those can create tension. Whereas the pentatonic, because there's less musical information, 5 notes, it can sound a little bit more chilled. So when you're putting phrases together, you've got to account for that. Is what you're trying to say through the guitar, is it very simple or is it quite complex? Are you wanting to create some complexity in your phrases, or are you wanting that simplicity? So I would say with these pentatonic box patterns, what you're doing is you're creating really simple ideas and vocabulary that you can actually use on the guitar and put that into your improvisations and your guitar solos. That's the whole idea here as well. That's the joy of the pentatonic. You know, I think that, you know, some people say that the pentatonic is like, you know, man, that's just like everybody plays pentatonic. But you know why? It's because it's good, right? And that's the thing. And like I've mentioned before, I think it's Bobby McFerrin, I think it is, did a thing about the pentatonic, a TED Talk. It's on the TED Talk. And I spoke about it before, where he got everybody to sing the pentatonic, because the pentatonic it's found in all cultures. Yeah, every culture seems to have a pentatonic. So what we need to do is really have this down. Okay, so anyhow, tangent. So what we've got is we've got these 5 movable box patterns. Now this is this thing here, guys. This is completely movable. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this in our old friend, yeah, A minor. Yeah. Because the beautiful thing about this is, if this is A minor, it's also C major, okay? So this is the beautiful thing. So we're going to do it, but I'm going to focus on this as being the A minor pentatonic, right? That's what we're going to get out of this today, guys. So, but like I say, this is completely transposable. These patterns, they shift. They shift along the strings, and what you've got to do is you've got to find specific things. So you've got to find your root notes. Now, let me just explain the pentatonic and what intervals that we're going to have in this. And there's a scale formula that you need to remember, because you want to look at this, because when you're playing chords, you want notes of the scale that you're playing to match the sound of the chords. You need them to work together. That's if you're trying to create resolution. But if you were trying to create some tension, then maybe not. But you need to know them. So look, the scale formula for the A minor pentatonic is going to be a root, it's going to be a flat 3rd, it's going to be a 4th, it's going to be a 5th, and it's going to be a flat 7. Right, so let me just talk about these intervals for a minute. The root is the home note. That's the home note, okay? Now, what happens is, if we remember the interval seesaw lesson, we'll know that the 4th and the 5th are perfect intervals, and they harmonize really the 5th is really just, it's a stable sound when we compare it to the root note. And the 4th, yeah, if we invert the 4th, we get a fifth. So these are really, really kind of benign sort of sounds. They're not going to, create tons of emotion. So the thing we need to really kind of know is, it's like, okay, the flat third and the flat seven, these are going to be our money notes in the scale, yeah? And obviously, if we're thinking about it, like, because this is A minor pentatonic, we're thinking about the chord, then obviously it's got a flat third, so that means it's minor, okay? So this all ties into... this all ties into the scale formulas thing as well. So we really, really need to understand how all that stuff works. Right, now, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do this. Do you know what? I'm going to start on box one. I'll start this on box one because it starts on the E string. Now the thing we need to remember, yeah, is I'm gonna put in these root notes. I'm going to do a little circle. You know how I like me circles. Elizabeth, yes, star jumps. 10 star jumps, please. So we've got C, A, G, E, D. Right, okay. So this is the way, we call it the cage system but really what happens is one shape rolls into the next, okay? That's how it works. These things, they all roll into each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out the first pattern. So this is going to be box one here, guys, okay? So this is how you would normally end up seeing these patterns, okay? This is in the books, but I'm going to add a little bit of something as well, extra on here to make sure that you understand it. So using this scale formula, we're going to have this as the root, right? So the thing that looks like a tadpole, there, a frog spawn, that is the root note. So I'm going to go up a minor third, which puts me there. Yeah, so you can see it goes up a step and a half step, which is a minor third. So minor second, major second, minor third, okay? So then what we do is go to the fourth, then we go to the fifth, then we go to the flat seven, and then we get back to the root note again. So what I've done is I've gone root, flat third, fourth, fifth, flat seven, and then we're back to the root again, because what happens is it just repeats itself, okay? So it goes round. So that's the way we're looking at it. So I'm just going to take this up here. I'm going to go, that's the flat third, that's the fourth, there's the fifth, there is the flat seven, and there's the root again. Now I should just end it there, but I don't like that, because the thing that's cool about the box patterns is what we get two notes per string. So we get two notes on the E string. Yeah, you can see two notes on the A string. So always having these two notes here, okay? But what we got is we end up with that. I just like to finish it off there with an extra flat third. If you were doing an exam, they'd say just 2 octaves and you wouldn't play that one. You might even get a mark deducted if you did it like that, but which is harsh. Now, the thing I want to show you here with this box one, this is box one in the A minor pentatonic. What we're going to do is we're going to utilize half of the other pattern, so half of this 2 note per string pattern. Did I say that? 2 note per string pattern. I'm going to get rid of that there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to transpose this pattern. I'm going to shift it up here. Because if you imagine, this is at the 5th fret. Okay. This would be the 8th fret. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shift the 8th fret over here now. And I'm just going to move that pattern. So you can see that I've got 1 at the 8th fret. And I've got 3 at the 7th fret there. One's got a frog spawn on it. And then we get these 2 here. So you can see... yeah, that shape there, what it does is it just follows that same pattern. So that pattern there gets repeated here. Okay, that's brilliant. Now I'm going to draw the rest of the pattern in, because it's just quicker for me to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few things. This pattern here, look at the distribution of the root notes. This is on the E string here. So the lowest sounding note we have here is an E. String is an E string. So that's an A on the E string. Now what happens if we jump up, we can see we got a caged octave, guys. And that's another lesson in the book. Where is it? Let me have a look. Let me just show you. There's another lesson in the book, and actually it's a mug. It's actually a mug as well. Where is it? Where is it? I call it the pentatonic autopsy. And what we do is basically we dissect a scale. You can dissect the scale, and then you can find out, you know, what all these intervals are. In fact, actually, I'll probably just do that. I'll just go back to this one here. We could use the octaves, caged octaves. This is an E-shaped octave, right? And because it's on the E string here, we just mirror it over on the thin E string, okay? Now, look at this one. This is a C here, and this is a C here, and this is a C here. So that's the G-shaped octave. And then if we look at this one, this note here, this is on the A string. If I go up 2, over 2, then that's exactly the same note as well. So essentially, that's a C-shaped octave. We get a D-shaped octave. That's part of the E-shaped octave, the G-shaped octave. And then we can see that how all these octave shapes all live within there. And so that's useful for seeing these intervals as well, guys. So that's what's going on here as well, right? So I'm going to take this root note here, and I know that it's on my D string. This is an E string octave, yeah? So I'm just going to tick that because we've used that. And this is, like I said, this is going to be box 2, okay? So we go up there, and then I just know from knowing my caged octaves, if I go up 3, over 2, this is going to be the same note. And this is an A note, because if it's an A note from here, because remember, this pattern here is the same as this pattern here. Look, remember that and that. Those guys, let me just block that off. That's it. Those are the same pattern. So that's an A, and that's going to be an A. That's crucial to know for when you are trying to resolve your phrases. But the thing that to notice with this is, even though those notes are there, what we are doing is we're following the caged octave pattern. And this is how the caged octave patterns move around as well. So there's lots of things going on in here. Okay, so we're going to go up here, and that's the D-shaped octave. Well, if you look at the cage sequence, C, A, G, E, D, okay, then you can see that that's going to be the next one. And you can maybe even look at this and you can guess what's going to be the next octave pattern we're going to get. Now, let me just get rid of the top half of the pattern, and we keep the bottom half of the pattern. And what we're going to do is we're going to repeat that. Okay, we're going to repeat that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it over on the next box here. So you can see I've just got that there. I've got 3 here. I've got one fret back. I've got a tadpole here, and then I've got that there. So I've just repeated that pattern. If that's fret 8, this is fret 10. Now let me just say, if you're in PDF Club, obviously, this blank sheet here, what you can do is you can sit and you can work out for different keys. I would do that, and I would probably work it out in the 5 caged keys: C major, A major, G major, E major, and D major, and use their relative minors to do that. Okay. I'll put something about that in PDF Club, actually. I think that's probably the best bet, if I put something like that in PDF Club. But you could do that because this is completely transposable. But because we're in A minor here, yeah, what I've got to do is I've got to figure out what fret that is. Now, it's pretty easy because I said that was fret 8. That's obviously fret 10. So now this here is going to be fret 10 there, okay, as well, because we're just repeating that pattern over there, right? Now, this is a little bit hard. You might start thinking to yourself, yeah, this one looks familiar. This pattern looks familiar, okay? And then this one, that's it's a bit trickier to see. And then this one's going to be a bit trickier to see. And then you know, so, but the thing is, there is a way, and I'm going to show you. So we will get there. Now, so the next part of this pattern goes like this, guys, right? So like I said, this is going to be the C-shaped octave. This is the C-shaped octave. Look, so we're carrying that on from there. There's the C-shaped octave. Just give it a tick. Just make sure I've done that, okay? Yeah, okay. So that's the way we're looking at. And we're going to call this box 3 in the minor. Right, so that's going to be fret 12. So let me take this pattern. I'm going to take this pattern here. I'm going to transfer it up here. So I can see I've got 4 in a row there. And I'm just using a visual thing, really, more than anything else. Noticing where that is there. You know, noticing where that is. and then, oh, look, there's like a kind of a D shape that pops out a little bit there. And therein is what I'm saying to you guys, is the shapes will reveal themselves in here for you. Okay, so what we've got is we've got fret 12 here. This is going to be box 4. Now, I think box 4 is one that, you know, if I was going to talk about, hang on, let me just move over here. If I was going to talk about memorizing specific boxes, let's talk about this. So this is kind of a tangent, a side sort of quest, if you will. Box 1 and box 4. If you can just practice those and moving between them in a key, yeah, you will have a really nice palette because they contrast and they complement each other really, really well. Because the box 1 pattern is kind of low voiced, yeah, and so I kind of think of this as being more of a, if you want to put it that way, masculine and feminine. A conversation, you know, so as far as a conversation is concerned, you've got one voice and you've got another voice. So it's like question, answer, question, answer. You can mix those two up. So moving from box 1 to box 4 is kind of the easiest way to get that variety in, instead of just sticking on box 1 and playing everything that you know in there and boring yourself silly. That's what I'm saying with this. So box 4. But really, the whole point of this lesson is to teach you how to play all of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to carry on up here, and we're going to go to fret 15 here. So this is fret 15, and what I do is I'm going to get this one and this one here. Then we go here, here, and here, and then we go here, because this is an E string. E string patterns, if you notice the E string patterns, guys, they're always the same. Thinny, thicky, always the same. Look, yeah, they're always going to be the same, right? And that's because I kind of think of this as a wraparound. I think of these as being 5 string patterns, yes? And that'll become really obvious. Now, you might say, all right, okay, Ricky, well, that tadpole there, that root note that we have on the A string, it's on the A string, so it's going to that's telling me it's an A-shaped octave. So if I go up 2 over 2, yeah, then there is the same note. So what I'm doing is, through all these 4 box patterns I've done so far, what we're doing is we're tracking the A's with the tadpoles. Yeah, so A, 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 A. And we've got an E-shaped octave to track that. We've got D. We've got a D-shaped octave to track that. We've got a C-shaped octave to track that. This is an A-shaped octave. So this just ties in with your cage shape. And the thing is, these root notes, you need to know where they are, because they're kind of like your home base, your anchors. Yeah, that you kind of got to know where they are, even if you're not going for them. You will be going for them as you're completing your phrases. That gent says, I'm confused. I thought box 1 was the G-shaped pattern. Am I confusing the pattern for box 1 with E octave for box 1? I'm not too sure what you mean there, that gent. The thing is, now I should mention, right? I'm just going to get some paper here. I'm just going to cover this up here. I'm just going to cover here. This is where the confusion sometimes happens with pentatonics, yeah? This one here, right? If I started here on this 8th fret and considered that to be my root note, then I would have an E-shaped octave here, okay? E-shaped octave, and then that would mean that this would be a C major pentatonic. And if that's what you mean by the G-shaped pattern, the G-shaped pattern is completely different to that, yeah? The G-shaped pattern, what I'm coming up to here, is the one I think I think of as being a G-shaped pattern. So I do think that's a G-shaped pattern. Let me just finish. I'll break through all these and let me write all these out, okay? Because really, these scales, they're all inversions of each other. Because if you remember, when we think about key, yeah, we've got C major and we have A minor. So you've got two. Think of it as yin and yang. We've got a major tonality and we've got a minor tonality. So this is what's going on here. But the thing is we shift our focal point to the root note of whatever chord it is that's underneath. Okay. So really, so this is what we're looking at. This is completely all A minor. Okay, this is all A minor. Let me just finish off this box 5. I'm just going to cover that up there. Now I've got to transfer this up here. I'm going to do this at the 15th fret. We get a dot there, a dot there. We get another dot there, another dot there, and that's as tadpole, because that is our root note again. And then we go boom, boom, and then what I want you to see is I want you to see how it all joins up back on itself. And this line here, look, and I think this is I think John Mayer calls this the pentatonic equator. Yeah, because it's just one line that goes all the way across. You'll notice all the other patterns, they go a bit wonky. Yeah, and so they're all a bit wonky and they all have a funny shape. They're nearly there, like that one's nearly there. That note's out of place. And this one, two are out of place. So what ends up happening is we end up, and there we go, 17th fret, we end up putting that all the way across there like that. So for me, this is my G-shaped octave. Okay, so we've covered them all. I've got an E-shaped octave, I've got a D-shaped octave, a C-shaped octave, an A-shaped octave, and then we get this G-shaped octave here. Okay, right, so that's the way to look at it. But the thing about this is, and I think this is a good one as well, is if you want to think about this as well, if you want to move this and transpose it down a position, very, very useful. Okay, so you can think of the 15th fret, and let me just show you what I mean by that actually on the guitar, because it's easier if I show you on the guitar. If I go close-up guitar, boom, there like this, right? I'm on the 15th fret. Remember, that is a repeat. That's the first single dot after the double dots. Okay, so visually, look at the distribution of your dots. You've got single dots, and you've got 4 of them. Yeah, so it goes 15, 17, 19, 21. Yeah, and here we get 3, 5, 7, 9. We've got single dots here. So these, yeah, just get repeated. That's a G, that's a G, that's an A, that's an A, that's a B, that's a B, that's a C sharp, that's a C sharp. Okay, so what we can do is, if we're stuck up here with this pattern, and the thing is, you're in the dusty end of the neck. And when you start playing the thick E string and the A string, yeah, right, what happens is it starts to get a bit clunky and clangy, yeah. So you might, you know, you don't really see many people play this sort of portion of the fretboard here, because the note quality isn't great. Yeah, so the thing is, you could very much often substitute that for another position. So what I'm saying is that pattern was at 15, 15, 17, 15, 17. What I can do is I can transpose it. Yeah, now you can hear it wanted to end on this A here, right? So just moving back to my dianogram, what you can see is I can put that in there. I could put that as fret 3, and I could also put that in as fret 5. And then that makes sense, because you see that's a 5 there, and I've got that line that goes straight across, and a line that goes straight across there. Okay, so those are your 5 patterns. And I think, you know, that it's like, if I said, you know, right, okay, sent you away with those to learn, it would take forever, you know. I mean, even if from the perspective of looking at it from learn box 1, learn box 4, it's still going to take a while, because you've got to do that navigation thing. Okay, you've got to think, and then you've got to move, you know. And somebody mentioned about, you know, doing the pick. Let me just quickly address that. About the right hand, okay? So when you're doing the right hand, what you've got to do is there's a lot you need to do. But let me tell you what you shouldn't do. And I've seen students do this all the time. Yeah, it's like they've gone away, they've practiced, and they come to a lesson, and then they go, right, Ricky, I've got the pentatonic down. Here it is. it wrong, didn't they? And what they're doing is looking at the ceiling. They're looking everywhere but the fretboard. Look at the fretboard. Would you drive a car without looking out of your windscreen, yeah, at the road in front of you? You wouldn't. Yeah, so look at your fretboard. It's almost as if there seems to be some sort of shame coupled with the idea of looking at the fretboard, yeah? And there isn't. So what I'd say is that, which brings me to the point that somebody mentioned about adding the picking and the right hand, yes? When you pick, you do not really want to be looking at your right hand that often, apart from when you're working on your picking specifically for something you're trying to gain speed and you're checking your form. Yeah, when you're checking your form, I kind of think that this hand is like looking out the window or where you're going when you're driving, and picking, looking at your picking is like looking at your pedals and your gear stick. Yeah, and what's in your glove box while you're driving, and that's the thing. Yeah, so it's a bit of a kind of a trade-off that you have to do. Now, when you're doing this at first, what you need to do is active looking. You need to actively shift from looking at this hand here, and then making sure that you're not just sticking on this hand. Making sure that you're not just sticking on this hand, because you don't want to be going and then losing the idea of what the pattern is here. Yeah, and then what you can do, there's loads of other exercises. You can stick on one string and synchronize those two notes together. Yeah, just keep on doing that. Now, one of the things I will say is you definitely want to think about the efficiency of your pick. And some guys get away with it with just using downstrokes, but I think it's folly. So what you do is you want to make sure that you're always playing a downstroke and then an upstroke. Yeah. And there's picking itself is a whole thing. But what I wanted to do is I just wanted to address that idea of paying attention to what's going on here and shifting your attention and then shifting it back. So you're constantly looking here, looking here. It's like when you learn how to drive. Before you maneuver, it's mirror, signal, maneuver. Yeah. So you've got to look in the mirror before you put your signal on to say you're going right or left, and then you do the thing. So really, it's the same principle. So you're going like that, and you're just focusing on not being too hard with the pick as well. Okay, so not being too hard with it. I hope that answered the question, because picking is a whole kettle of fish, but it's about not doing things blindly. Yeah, it's about focusing it on the thing and then shifting between the two. Okay, so while I'm here, I might as well. You know what? I'll have a sup of my tea. And then what we'll do is we'll look at some questions here as well. So let's have a look. I think it looks like, so the patterns are defined by the root octave shape, not by the position at which you play the pattern. No, it is the position. Right, okay. Let me quickly explain. This is another lesson in the book, guys. Let me just quickly explain something, right? This is a no-brainer, right? I had to teach this to one of my guitar teachers once upon a time, yeah, at the music school, and his mind was blown. Okay, his mind was blown, and this is a good one. This is a good one, because I'm going to show you this little shortcut, because the thing is, okay, right, I'm saying this is A minor, right, and I'm finding that A minor by looking at the E string and finding a root note A and starting the pattern there. But let me give you a bigger view of how you might look at it from the perspective of key. This video itself, like I say, it is pentatonic secrets, so we're going to lay into that, good and solid. So let me show you how I think about this, and once you get this, then you know how to Lego these box shapes, these box patterns, because that's what they do. Yeah, that's what's going on here. This pattern, it's the beginning of that one, the end of that one is the beginning of that one, the end of that one is the beginning of that one, and they Lego into each other. They're like Tetris blocks. They just slide into each other. And so if we wanted to look at where to start, and this is what I did. As I said, all right, okay, so this is in the key of C major. C major, E, D, C major, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, and there we go, wobbly bob, B diminished. Those are my 7 chords. Yeah, so I can do this with any key. If you've been here before, you know what I'm doing with these Roman numerals. So these are my chords. And then what happens is, this is the one. You just take this. You look at chord 6. Whatever chord 6 is, okay, chord 6 is going to be, I'll just turn this sideways. It's a little bit easier for me to draw. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So wherever that is, the root note of that chord, we find it on the E string, yeah? And in this case, it's an A, which we already said was at the 5th fret. We'll put as tadpole. This is going to put us squarely on box 1, guys. So look, just do the little pattern. It goes the line that goes all the way across. Hopefully, there's some aha moments happening now. And then you can see the distribution of the root notes in the E-shaped octave. Okay, so A minor is the chord, and this is A minor pentatonic because I've put it at the 5th fret. Now, hang on. Let me just show you. This isn't just for this key. So if I said to myself, all right, hang on, let's look at this. G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp diminished. There's the key of G major. Yeah, the relative minor. Notice this, guys. It's all the same. Look. All we're doing is we're shifting position with this. So now it's the same thing. Chord 6. We find out where chord 6 is. This is E minor. So what we can do is we can start this. We could even start this on an open string. If that was an open string, that would be the head note there. This would be the 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. But it could also equally be the 12th fret. Okay, because that is exactly the same thing that's going on there. Let's pick another key. Let's do a key with a flat. Let's go F. So we've got F, we've got G minor, we've got A minor, we've got B flat, we've got C, we've got D minor, and then what happens is we have got E diminished. Okay, so let's go with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we've got 7 again. Circle chord 6. We're always looking for chord 6. This is a D minor. Right? This is why you need to know where your notes are on your fretboard. Let me get rid of the 12 here. These are all pointing the same way. All I'm doing is I'm moving this shape up and down, just sliding it up and down until it matches with the root note of this D minor chord, which is fret 10. Okay? So it's exactly the same thing. Now, once you've established this, because this is the main box pattern, because this is where all the I call this the Chuck Berry zone. Yeah, because this is where all those rock and roll licks are. Yeah, because this is where they all are. They're Jimmy Page's. They're all those licks are all here. Okay, and that's where we want to think about it. So once we can establish where box 1 is, then you're golden. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, guys. Let me just have a look. Let me scroll down and see where we're going with this. So that I think that might answer Elizabeth's question. How do you determine what shape is in each box? Is based on the 2nd root note and the box starting point. In the box as the starting point. So I think this is what this does. Is it it establishes that there. Let me scroll down and make sure everybody gets this. Does this make sense, guys? Does this make sense? Just look at this here. Yeah, so it doesn't matter where you go, right? Let me just highlight this. I'll put this here, right? Now let me just shift this over this way. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to split screen. We've got this one here. Okay, so we've got this here. So like I say, this one, chord 6 is A minor. So this here, has to be the A on the E string. I'm looking for the A on the E string. That's why we need to know the names of his notes. So if I go like this, I go E, F, G, A. Okay, I found A. It's at the 5th fret. Okay, I can even play the A minor chord that lives inside the shape. Okay. Okay, so that lives inside there. Now, say I wanted the E minor. Okay. Well, look, I'd have to find it here. And like I said before, these here, I'm thinking of all these as being open strings. And that works because they're all in a row. That means this is on fret 3, this is fret 2, fret 2, fret 2, fret 3, fret 3. And I get this. There's the chord, minor chord that lives underneath. So we get that there. So I'm just following that there. But just like I said before, we want to monopolize on us understanding that the dusty end of the neck. Yeah, do I have to shift over this way a bit? That's it. Right, that's the 0 fret. Double dots is the repeat. So now I could play that pattern at the 12th fret. It's still 2 notes per string, but I'm playing the 2 notes with my fingers here. I play the 2 notes. Sorry, I play that again. I play 2 notes on each string, but the lower note is the open string. Okay. All right. So this is the one. There's another Ricky here as well. It says, Ricky, I always figured out where to play using the same method. I always thought it was my caveman brain. Look, no, it isn't. It isn't. Because what this does is, and the reason I call it the Chuck Berry zone is, it's all this. It's all this business. It all lives there, guys. Yeah, so all the licks that everybody plays, okay? So, and then the last one that I said here, this was D. Okay, so this is a little bit trickier because what I have to do is I have to think to myself, this is why I need to know the names of my notes on my fretboard. So I go, but I'll take it up. I'll take it the way most people wrongly do it. I'm going to say wrongly because it's inefficient. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Right? When you could just go E and you go backwards. Remember, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. E, D, so it just goes like this. So we've got the D here. Now that means I just play this pattern again. Right, and then all the chords from F major are going to fit around that. And you're always going to sound in. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully we're good. Hopefully we're good with that. Right. So that establishes where the box 1 pattern lives. You could do, Graham says, can you apply this to other positions? Is there a number note in the scale for other positions? Yes, it's the scale formula itself. Yes, you could. Let me do that. I'm going to do it. Let me do it in. Which key shall I do it in? Let's focus on. Let's put this here. If in fact, do you know, Graham? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with this, and I'll just show you something else, because this is a little bit of a different way of looking at it. What you could do, you see this, I want to show you this. I'm off on a tangent here, guys. And I haven't done a tangent for a wee while. But I want to show you this. I'm going to draw another chord box here, scale box. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me just show you this here. Right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pattern here. Okay? There. And I'm going to put that on. I've got enough room on this. I might have. Can I draw? Do I need to draw another fret? No, I'm all right. I should be all right. Yeah, should be all right. So let me put that there. Boom, 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 boom. Right, okay. Right, we're good here. Right. So now what I've done is this in the minor pentatonic. Yeah, in the minor pentatonic, we're looking at that as being box 2. Yeah, and when we're looking at it in box 2, it's the root notes here that are deciding that it's an A minor pentatonic, because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the root note as it continues throughout all of these. But what we can also do is we can think of this as being the major pentatonic. Okay, so this gives us a different distribution. You'll notice it. You'll notice this. Look, this wasn't a tangent I was expecting to go off on. Look at this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put an E shape on here. E-shaped octave. So there's my E-shaped octave. And what I've done is I've turned it from a minor pentatonic box into a major pentatonic box. Really, we can kind of think of this as box 1. But if I was thinking of this as major, this would be major pentatonic box 1. Right? Now, the cool thing is right, we know that should be this note here, don't we? We know it should be this one, right? So we could do the hand of rock trick, you know, the one where we use this one for minor pentatonic and this one for major pentatonic. Yeah, so we could do that, but it's nice to have the full box pattern as well. Yeah, so we can think of that as well there. But if this was the case, that we were thinking about this as being for chord 1, then this would be what would be applying here, guys. That would be the F, the G, okay, and the C, okay. So that's how that would work, okay. And you could move happily between those. All you have to do is think to yourself, obviously this is an F, so this is going to be first fret. So you've got some open strings to navigate, but easy enough if this was the G major, because then you've got the 2 patterns there to help you. Okay, right? Hopefully this all makes sense. But this is kind of like super basic way of looking at it. And somebody said about a cave. Ricky said it was a caveman method, but it isn't really. It's really, really logical. So Dick says, so one option for playing solo is play box 1 over chords. You can play box 1 over the chords. Now, but like I said, this is a skeleton. If you remember from when we were talking about modes the other week, what happens is, and let me just put this up because John says something. It's correct. It's relative major and minor, because that's what we'll focus on, chord 1 and chord 6. Chord 6 is the relative minor, okay? And so we find the relative minor. Let me put that in there. I forgot what I was going to say there, but the long and short is that works really, really well, okay? So the option, I know what I was going to say, Dick, is this, if we think of the 2 box patterns that we have here, yeah, these 2 box patterns, if we add extra notes to them, we can get any scale we want. These are the 2 most important skeleton scales. We add notes in there, and that's how we get modes. I've done a lesson on it. It's in PDF Club, and I add 2 notes. It's on the channel. There's a link on the channel somewhere to find that how you turn pentatonics into diatonics. Okay, it's really, really easy, but that's beyond the remit of what I wanted to do today, because this here is a tangent, guys. This is just a tangent. But the thing is, like I said, yeah, what we're doing here is we're following the cage system round here to find this. This is completely all in A minor pentatonic. Okay, so let's have a look. So if Eyup says, hang on, let's put it on the thingy. If I want to play a progression F, G minor, C, I could play box 1 on the 1st, 5th, and 8th fret, and it would be okay. It would sound all mixed up. It would sound all mixed up. Because the thing is, these scales have to Tetris into each other. They dovetail into each other. These box patterns, the 5 patterns that we have here. And that's the thing. Let me just quickly demonstrate how that works, okay? Let me just get the guitar and show you how that works. Right? So what we can do... Robert Trucker says, these boxes also happen to be in the scale positions for major and minor. And that's the thing, right? I want you to take comfort in this idea. Yeah? I want you to take comfort in the idea that once you've learnt your 5 minor pentatonic box patterns, you've already learned your major pentatonic box patterns because they are exactly the same thing. They are inversions of each other, guys. Yeah? There's no new notes introduced, yeah. So the thing is, there's no new chords, yeah. It's just the emphasis. It's like the modes. The tonal center has shifted. The note of resolution, and we find the note of resolution by going through the root notes that we can find using the caged octaves. That's the way it works. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So, but let me just show you. Can I do this? I can do this with okay, a bit of both. Right, we'll go this. So let me just show you. So the thing is, this pattern here, I'll just show you how these dovetail into each other. Watch. So that's your box 1. Right, the top notes, the notes that are higher up the neck, yeah, the higher pitched notes. Those form the next part of box 2. So now what I do is I get another box pattern. So I've got both of those. If I stitch those both together, you can see that they join into each other. Yeah, and that's really, really useful if you want to do tapping, yeah. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. That's what we're doing there. Look, and if I move up to the next pattern, we've got it in shot. We have it in shot. This one here, I've got. So remember, I had. Now I'm coming. Right, these are just the notes A, C, D, E, and G. There's no more extra notes in there, okay? They Tetris into each other. That's the thing. Hopefully that makes sense there, guys. Right, and then what we do is, hang on, let me keep on going up. So we had those notes there. Remember, this one was, it's not a full line like we got that, what they call the pentatonic equator. There, it goes here. Now that, like I said, the thing is that gets tricky to see. And then let's move over. Let's just finish that pattern off. So we had those notes there. Transfer that down here. And that means I'm back at the beginning again. Look. They all fit into each other. Okay? They all fit into each other. Right, hopefully that makes sense. But I think it can be really difficult to look at these patterns. So what we want to do is we want to break these down into what I call 3s and 2s. and you can start to see how these patterns form. Highlighters. I mentioned in the PDF club. Highlighters. You need some highlighters. They're great. They're just great for spotting things out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back over here. Now this is where the magic happens, guys, because I want to show you. Box 1's going to show us the way. And the thing is, and actually, do you know what it was? It was Dark Night by Deep Purple that made me see this. It's in E minor. I thought, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah? Do you know which one I'm on about? Which riff I'm on about? The one that goes... yeah? Yeah? It was that. Is that? And maybe Wishing Well by Free. Yeah? And I thought, oh, right. Okay. All right. So look, we're building on this. Because the thing is, we know where box 1 is. Okay? We know where box 1 is. Yeah? And we're thinking about it in minor. If we were thinking about it in major pentatonic, we'd know where this would be box 1 in the major pentatonic. Yeah? The root notes would be in completely different positions. Yeah? But here's what I want you to see. Okay? This is what I want you to see. We're looking for obvious patterns. And this was the pattern that I saw. This was the pattern. And you could think to yourself, all right, it starts on the 4th, goes to the 5th, goes to the flat 7, goes to the root, goes to the flat 3rd, and then goes to the 4th again. Okay? You could think of it in that way. Yeah? But I just call that a 3. So that's a 3 pattern, guys. All right? So I'm going to just put this down here. That's what I want. You're looking out for this. And it shifts on strings. It shifts through your strings. But the thing that we're looking for is when it's in the minor, the root note is always going to be there. Look, hang on. Right? Okay, let me just show you this again. It's quite exciting. I get quite excited about this. Look. The root note's in the middle of the 3. It's in the middle of the group of 3. So this is what I call the 3. All right? And this is going to be my 2. When I'm going to do my 2, I sometimes call the 2 call it a big rectangle. Yeah, it would go like this. Can you see? I've got my big rectangle there. It's my 2. Right? Now, the cool thing about the 2 is, and I'm just going to put it over here on this sheet here, like that. My root note is always going to be there. Okay? So this is how the 3 and 2 pattern works. Like that. Now, I just want to mention this thing here. Look at that. You think to yourself, all right, well, what's going on here, Ricky, on this thick E string? You haven't put anything on there. There's no highlighter on there. Well, like I said before, the pentatonic is a 5-string pattern. Yeah, it works over 5 strings and then it repeats itself. So this here is basically a repeat of what's going on this E string over here. If you had a B string on the, a 7-string guitar and it was a B string here, yeah, then that would be exactly the same pattern as that. It would be exactly the same pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this around here. This is actually what I call the wraparound. I just imagine that there. Oh, Terry, I've only just seen that. Thank you very much, Terry. I appreciate that. Thank you for the donation. Lovely. Thank you. Right. So now all I need to do now is I need to look out for these. And I think probably the easiest one now that I've established the 2, I'm just going to look for the 2s and see if there's a pattern that repeats itself. Now watch this, guys. Watch it just come alive. Watch how these patterns just immediately dissolve from being extremely hard things to learn, yeah, to being something that, I can conquer this. You can get this in no time at all. And this is the pentatonic secret. This is the secret to learning your pentatonic patterns. It's, well, one of the secrets. Okay? So, look, we've got a 2 there. We've got a 2. Let me do another one here. Now, this is a funny one. And what I'm aiming for, because it's a 2-note per string idea here, I'm aiming for the lower note, closest to the head note, to find the root note on my 2. So I put that there and put that there. Now what you'll notice is we always have to compensate for the wonky tuning thing that's going on here. Look. Okay. Okay. Right, so there's a +1 there. In between the B and the G and the B string, we've always got a +1. Right, so we take that into account. Once we take that into account, there were no... Hang on, I'm doing that the wrong way around there, Ricky. But we're going to know that something happens there that we have to be careful. You know, careful, Will Robinson. So here you can see there's a 2 there. Now I can see, I'm looking for that note there. I can see it just there. That means that to the other side of it, there's the other one there. So what did Jason say? I think I've got it. Box 1 in this example, A minor, can be used for both A minor and C, but we hone in on the root note as home base associated to that chord. Yes, perfect, Jason. Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what's going on. Here's this one. Right, look. So look at this. Same again. Here's the 2. So we've got the 2 there. We've got a 2 there. We've got a 2 there. I kind of call that the rhomboid. So we've got a rhomboid shape. You can think of it as a rectangle. You could even colour them all in nice and like that, and then that covers it all. And you can see that's exactly what we've got going on there. Yeah, we can see where those patterns link up to each other. I'm going to come back to the 3s now, because now it's easier to see the 3s. The thing to know as well, the cool thing is you might think to yourself, well, I can use that as a lower group of 3. Yeah, I'm just going to do that like that and fill it in. This is a lower group of 3. And I know it's always going to be followed. A 2 is going to be followed by a 3. So I'm going to go with a 3 here. And look, the 3s are a step apart. Okay? The distance between the 2 notes on the string for the 2s, they're a minor third. These are a major second, or you can call them a tone or a step. You can call them that. But I think interval names are probably a good way to go around it. But here you can see this is crossing over from the G to the B string. So what I need to do is I need to add 1 fret. So that's why I get this compensation going on there. It warps the shape a little bit. Okay. Robert Tucker says, would you suggest blue and pink highlighter on the neck? Just kidding. I would say if you put some, if you've got an old guitar and you put some masking tape on and you want to plot things out, why not? I mean, it's not a silly idea. It's really not a silly idea at all. You know, that's part of the thing, really. It's like, it's whatever works. If it works, it ain't stupid. So that's what we're saying. Look at that. We've got that pattern there. Remember, you can look at my thick E string. Remember, my thick E string is just a repeat. Yeah, it's the wraparound. So really, what I've got to do is I've just got to copy what's going on there. That tells me that that's the last, that's the back end of the group of 3. That's this portion there that's just backing up to it there. Right, so this is one of the coolest ones, I think, is this one. It's going from this one to this one. Yeah. These 2 are in the same octave, whereas that one's an octave higher. So, but the thing is, because of these strings being thicker, it's a different timbre. And we like that. We can change that around. Look, so we've got a group of 3 there. Hang on, let me just change that to be the same pattern. So we've got a group of 3 there, okay? Right, so there's the 4. There's the 2, there's the 3. Can you see what's going to go on here, guys? What's going to happen here? It's a wraparound. That's what I call it, a wraparound. You can learn it, Phil. You can equally do it as that as well. But here's the thing: you can break this down. You could think to yourself, look, you could say, this is a root, this is the flat third. Yeah, this is the flat 7, and this is the 5th. Yeah, 5th root, flat 7, flat third, and then you start to get those associations with each other. And how they are neighbours across strings as well, adjacent to each other on strings. So when you're learning the notes on the fretboard, it's not just about learning the notes up the strings. And I've shown you things like eggs fried, bacon crispy, and all these crazy little mnemonics and everything like that. But what you also want to do if you're learning your intervals, you want to know where they live next to each other, and that's critical as well. So look, so we've got that there. Look, so we've got that that crossover that we've got going on here. And then what we've got is we've got this here, we've got this here, got this here. We've got the 3. There's the 3. Look, we've got the compensate, makes it go all wonky. We get a rhomboid shape as it crosses over onto the G to B string. We've got that going on there. But then what we've got to do is we've just got a mirrored E string again, because like I say, it's a group of 5. And that's why I've said before, I think I've said before that the guitar is a 5-string instrument. It kind of is, you know. So that's what I'm thinking about. And this is a really funny one. This pattern this pattern always reminds me of 1970s wardrobes. You know, the symmetrical ones. I don't know why. Do you know what I mean? When you moved into a house, it was always seemingly when you moved into a house, there was somebody left a wardrobe, and it was a double door wardrobe. It was a fancy one, yeah, and that would be where the doors split. So look, we've got that going on there. But what's going on? You can see that's the start of the group of 3. This is the middle, and then this is it carrying over. This is just rolling over there, guys. So you can see it's just repeating, and then obviously we've got to finish it off before we get onto the 3 and the 2. So the 3 and 2s, they roll over on each other like that, and that's the way we can use them. Now, let me just explain again what I was on about with this. What's cool about this, guys, is if I look, I'm just going to pull this. What I was saying, I was looking at this one here. Can you see that? It says 5th fret. Yeah, we got it. 5th fret there. And we're looking at that triangle there. And when I'm soloing, and say I've got, I know it's an A minor chord. Yeah? I know where my root note is because it's circled there. I can track it. I don't need, once you know where that is, then you think to yourself, well, then the scale formula comes in handy, because you go root, flat 3rd, 4th. This is why you need to memorize your scale formulas, okay? Okay, so we've got that there. So we've got, there's my flat 7. So I know, and I can even see, look, here's the triad. There's the 5R flat 3, guys. Look. There's the 5R flat 3. Now if we flesh it out, that's the 3 notes. We know that's the 4th. There's the 5th. There's the flat 7. There's the root, flat 3rd. And there's the 4th again. Because that's the octave. The 4th's on that octave there. Now the 4th we know is a kind of a resolving sound, yeah? Now sometimes on this, if I'm playing an A minor 7 like this, that 4th is going to sound, it's going to sound an 11th. Yeah, and you've got to be careful with 11ths. Yeah. So I've got this here. So really, if we wanted to fill it in, we've got these extra notes that we can put in there. Okay. Why does box 2 in the minor become box 1 in the major? It's because of the distribution. We're changing the focus note. The note that is the center, the tonal center. Yeah, the resolution note, the home note. Yeah, the tonic. So there's the root note there. Now because I know where the root note is, and I know where my flat 7 is, and I know that my flat 3rd's next to it here, look. So I know that those are going to be my money notes. There's my money notes. There's my triad. Yeah. Now look at here. This is the next bit. I've moved up into box 2 here. Right? And look, you'll see I'm not doing anything different. I'm playing I've just moved that pattern, the 3, up here. Look. There's my 4th, 5th, flat 7, root, flat 3rd, 4th. Can you see it? There, Phil. Look. This is going to help you, Phil, for learning those intervals. 4th, 5th, flat 7, root, flat 3rd, 4th. Okay? You know that's the 4th. You know the flat 5 is going to be here because the 5th is here. Join them up. The cool thing about this that I like about this is the fingering. Look at now the thing is there's 2 kind of schools of playing with this. Some people play like this with these 3 fingers. The pinky hardly sees any action, you know, like this, which is fine. Personally, I'm a pinky player. So when this happens, when I get on the 3, I'm going to play that with fingers 1 and finger 3, okay? And it's better for my thumb for bending those notes. Okay? So we've got this here. So there's that root. Now I'm just going to repeat the pattern again. Because look, that's a 4th, that's a 4th. I can take it up to my gauged octaves, guys. Look. That's just on the 4th. I'm just transposing the 4th up. Right? And I can see there's my root note again in the middle of that group of 3. There's the group of the top 3 notes. There's the bottom 3 notes. So listen to that. Does it sound jazzy? So we can get lots of, you know, yeah, we can put this. Okay, so we get that going in there. But the reason I like this, like I say, for this, my fingers are too stumpy to be doing this. I need as much help as I can. So using a pinky makes sense to me. So, yeah. That's all on. That's on the 2. I'm doing this all on a 2. Look there. So I'm thinking of that, and I'm assigning the correct fingers for me. That's why I'm using. But I should put a caveat on that. Let me just switch to the main camera for that. I should put a caveat on that, right? When you move up, there is a point where you have to shift fingers because it's just the frets are too narrow. So really, what I tend to think of is if I'm moving up here, yeah. So once I start getting up here, I might around about the 14th fret tend to shift over to fingers 1 and 3 for that stretch, for that distance, that minor 3rd. And I tend to play everything with fingers 1, 2, and 3 there. Yeah, so I do shift that up there. But but the thing is, like I say, you've just got to get used to doing that shift. And I remember I tried for a long time. So I just want to save you that time. If you try and use your pinky and your first finger to get these patterns up here, and it's a struggle, you might struggle with it and think that it's your fault, but it isn't. Yeah, and that's why I'm telling you right now, you need to. It's okay to switch your fingerings as you move up and as the width of the frets gets smaller. It's really good to be able to do that. Right, so, let's go back to this one here. Right, now, like I say, I want to show you why this is good as well. I didn't do this one. This is the 10th fret. Let me do this at the 10th fret. Now, what's good about this? It's at the 12th fret. It's on my A string there at the 12th fret. It's just telling me. It's screaming it out to me saying, oh yeah, that's an A key. But if I take this down here, listen to this phrase here. Now move it down here. We get exactly the same thing. And once we get this idea that we can repeat our licks. Look, I can pull down on that one. So Davis Rogers says 4/5, yes, yeah. Flat 7, root 1. Call it that. Yeah, and then we get flat 3rd. Yeah, do the B beforehand, so it's and then back to 4th. Okay. This is going to be the 5th. Yes. Then we get the flat 7, root, flat 3rd. Yes, it is. That's it. Exactly. That's it, Davis. That's absolutely it. Yes. Confirmed. Right? So, but the thing is, what we're doing is we're looking 4th, 5th, flat 7, root, and then flat 3rd, and then that 4th there. But we want to be able to see the triad here. Look at this. Guys. Look at this. That was my triad, wasn't it? That was it. 5th, root, flat 3rd. Yeah? There's the full chord. Now let me do it here. Let me do it here. Look at the shape. There's my triad. Look at the shape that it is. Yeah? 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 Okay, because I know where my root is. Yeah? I've thrown a spanner in the works there by putting a blues chord on, but don't worry, it was just a substitution. Okay, so there are bits that we need to tackle. There are bits that we're going to need to tackle, like I say, with the second box here. Right? And I always think this is a great way of demonstrating it. Do we know what this is? Yeah. Yeah? Do we know what that is? Yeah? Right? Okay, so what we can do now is, if I take that there again, look, here's the beautiful thing is, I know I'm on the B string there. There's my C-shaped octave. This is where the rectangle or the 2 pattern happens. Do you see what's going on there, guys? I'm just recycling the pattern, and but now if you think about it, this is your Chuck Berry zone. I can treat that where all the licks are in the Chuck Berry zone. We just put them into the next box, into the blue pattern. Yeah, the box in the 2 pattern that we have there. Yeah. Okay, so we've got that going on there. Look at it here. Let me move this over here. I'm going to put this here. Now, this is a bit trickier. But the cool thing is, guys, watch. What have I got going on here? Yeah, this is an elevator triangle. So look. So we've got the elevator triangles on the kink in the tuning that we can actually rely on. Okay? So I know now, but this, what you have to do is you have to manage and the difficulty of transitioning with this rhomboid shape here, going from 9, 12, 10, 13. Same lick again. Look, so all I'm doing is I'm just putting this in the thing. Yeah, so we've got all that cool. And what's cool about that is, because that elevator triangle is the same as this one here. Whatever you can do here with this elevator triangle, you can do it here. Okay, so we've got. There's only one rhomboid. Yes, it's David. Yes, there's only one rhomboid in the box 2. In the box 2 pentagon pentatonic. Just that one. It's what you're doing is you're tracking the kink in the tuning. That's all you're doing. Okay, you're just doing that there. Okay. Mrs. Ricky, are you on the chat? Oh, dear. All right. Okay. We'll sort that out. Mrs. Ricky's been kicked out of the chat somehow. Right. Okay. So look. Let's take this down here as well. So what we've got is let's take it onto the 14th fret up here. All right. Same thing. Look, I've got my. I know where my 2 pattern is. Now I've got my. There's my root, right in the middle. So I've got the 4th, 5th, flat 7 root. Then I've got the flat 3rd, and then I've got my 4th here. Yeah, so all I'm doing there is I'm just recycling it. I'm going down those little patterns there. I'm connecting them all. And that's something you have to work on as well. But there's the 3. That's the wraparound. That's from this pattern here. Right, now what we're on is we're onto the symmetrical wardrobe doors one. That's what I call it. So you can see we've got the part of the 3. If I had the B string, I'd have them all, just like I had them here. I would have them all. But there's the 2. Yeah, so look at that. Okay, yeah. There's the 2. But like I say, that's the same as the 3rd fret. Oh, hang on, I'm moving out of shot. That's the same as the 3rd fret. So let me just take it down here. Yeah. Right, so we've got all that going on there, guys. Right. So, let me have a look. Where am I? Right. Does this make sense? I think I've kind of answered all the questions as I've gone through this, and hopefully everybody should do it. Now, I wanted you to feel the mental friction when I drew the patterns out without the 3s and 2s. They looked like it was something difficult. It was difficult terrain to master. But the thing is, once you boil it down and you think to yourself, guys, it's just 2 patterns. Yeah, it's just 2 patterns, the 3 and the 2. Okay, just the 3 and the 2 there. Now the thing is, right? It does make the guitar more fun. Yeah, Chuck Berry and Wardrobe Doors. Now the thing is, this is the killer bit. This is the killer, right? I'm gonna add some secret sauce to this, and like I said, this is pentatonic secrets. But I'm not just gonna do. This is not just pentatonics. So those of you out there who love the blues, the pentatonics are brilliant. Look at this. We've even got a green pen on the go here, right? What we're gonna do is I'm just gonna show you. So it's really, really easy. What I'm going to do here, and I'm going to put it here. Look, if that's the 4th and that's the 5th, then what happens is we get the flat 5th just here. The flat 5th fits just nicely in here, guys. Right? So now all I need to do is add that to all my 3s. Look, I'm going to put it in my 3 there. I'm going to put it in my 3 there. I'll put it in my 3 there. Look, that's where it would live in that one. So put it in my 3s. That's my flat 5. That's where it's going to live. Because from the 3 pattern, we know we've got the 4th, we've got the 5th, we've got the flat 7 root, we've got the flat 3rd, and we've got the 4th again. Now, that makes a whole heap of difference. That makes an absolute whole heap of difference. But what we can do is we can make it even better, if that's a proper word. And all I need to do is I think, right, well, that's on my A string. Okay? This is on my A string. What I need to do is I go up 2, over 2, and that's the same note an octave higher. So if I put that there, yeah, and I'll tie that in there, that's my flat 5, guys. That's the flat 5 again. Look. There's the flat 5. I could do the same on this one. I'm going to put it just there. I'm going to do it there, put it there. I'm going to put it here on this one. Now, some of these are a bit more practical than others, but I'm sure, you know, you can find a way around it. There is another one that I'll do. You know, I do like to put the if I extend this back a bit, actually, I'm just going to extend it back a fret. I knew I should have drawn another fret on there. But I do like to look at my flat 5 like that. And I could put that on my 2s. So I could think about it. My flat 5 is going to live there. And then I could just see it where it lives. It's a no-brainer. Look, I'm going to run out there. I'm absolutely wrecking this handout, but hopefully it'll make sense. There. Okay, so I can see where that's going to live. Okay, and I've just added that. Now, what difference does that make? Well, let's just have a little look, shall we? Let's look at this one now. Now what I've got is I've got a full minor blues scale. Yeah, so now it goes. Do like that flat 5 there. Flat 5 to the flat 3rd to the root. So now what we've got is the pentatonic is the salt, and the blues note there, the flat 5, is the pepper. Yes? Right? This is what... Yeah, the difference is just one note. So look, I'm up here. I use the flat 5 here on this box 2. Yeah, I'm looking at the 2 pattern here, right? And then what I'm doing is I'm just sliding up. I'm just using it as a little approach note. I'm thinking pentatonic. Now I'm into this portion here. Yeah, does want to finish on that fifth there. And now I've got these blues scales everywhere. These blues scales are just living everywhere. This is pentatonic secrets, guys. Right? But it's like, it's really easy way to look at it. This one, let's look here, 10th fret. Right? So we've got an A minor. I'm going to play an A minor here. Like this shape here. Keep it pentatonic because I don't want any complexity. Now I add that flat 5, which is there, and it's here. Look. Yeah, that's a nice little thing. This is why I use my pinky. That's why I'm a pinky player, is because I like this 3-note per string here. Because what I've done is I've essentially turned this into a 3-note per string idea. Yeah, so we've got the flat 3rd, 4th, flat 5th. And that works really well because that flat 5th is the tension to the flat 3rd, which is more tension. There's my root. Because I know my root is here. But that's exactly the same thing that I was playing here. Just recycling the same lick. Same here again, look. I've moved into box 4 here. I'm using that pattern again. There's the flat 5. We get 3 notes in a row there, chromatically. 12, 13, 14. And I know my flat 5 is going to be there. Yeah, so... Right, so we've got that. Had to finish that lick off. So that's there, and then moving over here. Let's move it down to this part of the fretboard down here. So, yeah. Open, because that's going to be my 4th. 4th, flat 5, 5th, flat 7, root, flat 3rd, 4th again. Okay, so you see, I'm only thinking 2 patterns. I only have to think 2 patterns with this. But you have to get used to this whole joining them up like Lego blocks. Just like Lego blocks. There, so you can hear that there. See that there, sorry. Got those there. Right, okay. Is there some more goodies with this? There might be some more goodies with this. There are some more goodies with this, but I think it's probably best saved for another lesson. Yeah, I think... Where are we at? Yeah, I think we're probably just about there, guys. I don't want to overload you too much with this. plenty to get into. David says, is Neo Soul hiding in the Pentatonic? Yes, it is. Massively. Oh no, you made me do it now. You're gonna make me do it. Davis, let me show you something. Right? Let me just show you guys a quick win. Who's up for a quick win? Who's up for a quick win? Kind of neo. You're saying Neo Soul there. I did a lesson on this a while ago actually. Let's have a look. Is this one? This one? Oh no, it's this. Right. Okay. So what we've got? Look. If we've got a bar chord, right, and we're just gonna play an A minor. Okay. Got to play an A minor here. It says 5th fret. Okay. Now what I can do, and I like this because what it does is it gives you the super flexibility. Oh, Graham, thank you very much. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. Hang on, let's put that up on there. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. Okay, so we've got this here. Now, because we know box 1 lives just here, what we can do is we can take that shape there. Yeah. With the pinky, we can just snatch. We do these like snatchy pull-offs. Yeah, we can add those bits on. I do want to add the 9 on this. So just adding those little ornamentations on. With that chord under there, but I'm following the outline and the higher notes of the box pattern. Yeah, so I'll put that there. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's something that you can really do there. And the thing is, Davis, that it's like if you can associate the box pattern with the chord, then you can use the scale with the chord as well. Because it's what I call chord scales and arpeggios. There's only 3 things that we need to learn when it comes to pitch on the guitar, and shapes and patterns, and that's chords, scales, and arpeggios. Yes. So chords are the clusters of notes, scales are single notes, and then arpeggios are where we take the chords and we pull them and stretch them out into single notes. So really, that's what we've got. Everything else, add rhythm, and then you've got music. That's it. 12 notes at that. Yeah, that just repeat in different octaves. And there's not much else really to it, is there? It's amazing that we can get so much from all that, really. But that's the handout that will be going into PDF Club, guys. And the other one. There was another one, wasn't there? Where's the other one? And that one there as well. Yeah, so that one there. I didn't get into the one that I wanted to, that I was thinking about, but I thought it might just be a little push too far. Because when we were doing the modes, those were mega sessions, guys. You know, we were getting into the territory of, we were getting into the territory of 2.5 hours. And I was like, those are heavy sessions. But I love it. I love it all. So the thing is, it's all good. But let's keep it so that everybody's brain is still functioning normally, let's say. Not melted. Yeah. So, right. Okay. Hopefully you've enjoyed that today. Like I say, this is page 67. And it is, lesson 67, page 73. Let me just find something because I'll just show. I will see if this will pull up. I just want to show you this, and then what you can do is you can make the decision. You can think to yourself and go, "All right, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying there, Ricky." But this is the one, right? Let me see. Hopefully this will go according to plan. There we go. My face is in there. Right. Everything I've just shown you right now, yeah, if you enjoy it, right, what you could do is you could buy it as a mug. You could buy it as a mug. How cool is that? Yeah, so you can study this. Oh, David, thank you very much. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate that, David. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Oh, Robert, first time here. Oh, thank you. Oh, appreciate the sub. Look, so there. Let me. I had to do this. It was just I just think. How do you learn guitar when you're not with your guitar? Because I don't know if you're like me. We're talking about going on holiday, and one of the first questions I ask is, "Can I take my guitar with me?" But if I can't take my guitar with me, then I need to do something in there. Look, all the intervals, they're on the mug. They're on the mug. They're on the mug there. Look, and so the thing is, and then what you do is, it's all on there, and boom, look at that. Oh, look at it. It's there. It's a thing of beauty, is that? It's a thing of beauty. But it's all there. It tells you the rules and everything. And all 5 boxes are on there. That's there, and that's on the website, and that's in my store. If you want to support the channel, then I'd appreciate that. I don't even know if it's in the video underneath. It might be underneath. Because when I do the live streams, I don't have monetization on the live streams when I do the class, because I don't want you having ads when I'm trying to talk about a finer point of something that needs to get into your brain box. Right, guys. So, like I say, but if you want that in the book, it's in the book. Right, it's in the book, and you can get the book just. Here you can get the book just here. So if you haven't got the book and you want the book, you can get the book there. The cool thing about the book is it comes in paperback. You can get it from Amazon, and that's a paperback. You can get it from Lulu in spiral bound, because Amazon doesn't do a spiral bound. They don't do spiral bound books unless people send them in there to be shipped off. Or you can get it as an ebook. If you get it as an ebook on the channel, then what happens is in the Fretboard Fraternity that I mentioned earlier on, which is a free place for you to come. You're just free to join. You don't under no obligation to buy anything. But if you go there, yeah, if you buy the book, then you'll find the ebook is in there for you to download whenever you want. But all 80 lessons from the book are all in there as well, all in order. So that you can, so you can click on them, and you don't have to go onto YouTube, and you don't have to do any YouTube ads and all that sort of stuff and listen, and then next thing you know, you're tangent, you're looking at somebody popping pimples and blackheads. Do you know what I mean? It's like the most horrific roller coaster disasters or something. Yeah, because that's what happens to me. So there, right now, if you really want the full experience, then what you need to do is you need to join PDF Club. There's a link to PDF Club there. If Mrs. Ricky somehow locked herself out of. She somehow locked herself out. So I don't know what's going on there. I would have had a discount code because you turned up to class. I don't know if there is one from last week, but if you want one, just give us an email. Send us an email, and I'll send you a discount code. Oh, she's done one. All right, okay. So PDF 2025. 2025. There it is. Yeah, so there's the coupon if you want to join PDF Club. I've put the wrong one up there, haven't I? This one here. If we're going to join PDF Club, then that's the link there. There's the coupon to get 20 quid off. And there we go. Right. Okay, so like I say, everything that I've done there, I'll scan, I'll get in for the PDF Club members. But, yeah, what I want to do is, like I say, like I like to do at the end of every session, yeah, I hope you've appreciated the hair this week. Yeah, I've enjoyed not having the hat on. You know, when you got a hat on, it's like it can make you feel a little bit foggy. So, download, if you're in PDF Club, download the blank worksheet. Work this out in different keys. Okay, work it out in different keys. That's just do it like a Sudoku puzzle. Yeah, and that's the thing, or a crossword. Do that. But remember, guys, just want you to remember who you're playing guitar for. That's the whole thing, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, it's about that time, isn't it? It is. If you haven't smashed the like, wallop the like on your way out, yeah? And if you have really enjoyed the lesson, once I've finished, if you drop a comment, that would be great for engagement for the algorithm, because we've got to keep the gods of YouTube happy. So that things like this get out there to the wider population, to the people who need this lesson. Okay, thank you very much for turning up today, guys. I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you for turning up, and I'll see you next week. Take care, look after yourself, look after each other. Bye-bye.